You ever go to LinkedIn or go to a conference and see somebody else who's just nailing it with their content marketing? And I'm always curious, how are they doing it? What does it look like behind the scenes? So in this podcast, that's what we're gonna explore. I'm gonna ask dumb questions of smart people to figure out how content marketing is working these days and how you and I can take away actionable steps for our businesses. Welcome to the podcast.
Ben Wise, I am the founder of Storied.
It's easy to write off social media and be like, okay, yeah, it doesn't work.
Adapt it to who you are.
Marianne, welcome to the show.
Justin, thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to our convo.
Absolutely. Well, you and I have similar audiences, which is the speakers or the people who want to be speaking. And I think that's how we originally connected on LinkedIn. I can't remember if there was a mutual connection of ours that introduced us, but let me know if I got that right. But I think it was just through LinkedIn, right?
Now, that sounds about right. Yeah, it's funny because in the podcasting world, we have the blessing of meeting so many new amazing people. And I got to be honest, I can't always trace the roots. So if I owe a thank you to someone for introducing us, here it is.
Well, today, so this podcast, as you know, is all about content lessons. We do this because I want to know how people get results with content specifically. And because I run a content marketing agency specializing in short form video. If you don't mind, would you kind of introduce somebody who doesn't know you, introduce us to how you got to this point, what you do, and some of your claims to fame, or maybe your big claim to fame.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So my biggest claim to fame is that I have 6 kids and a beautiful husband who I love and adore. That's nothing else matters because that's my biggest, I could lose everything else. And if I still have that, I'm good. If that goes away, I'm in huge trouble. It doesn't matter what accolades I have or how many stages I've appeared on. So I lead with that because it's most important.
And don't forget that you shared in this right before the podcast and the 11 puppies.
The 11 puppies in the other room, which if they come through, they're still for sale. So, but so I speak on stage for a living. I have been on over 2,500 stages, last count, in 17 different countries. So those are my hallmarks. I'm a #1 best-selling author, all of that fun stuff and those titles. But that's not as cool as what I can say about the people who I've been working with. I just had one of my clients say, I closed my first client at 2,500. So my clients are making money from bringing on clients, which is the coolest part. I just had another client 3 weeks ago. Her name is Renee. She's incredible. She's a naturopathic healer. And she's saying, she got, I think, 12 clients last year. My client, Christy, got 60 clients last year. That's the funnest part. Nobody cares how much I'm making unless they can make the same. So, my history comes from Food Stamps of Financial Freedom. That book is on my computer right now. It's not finished yet, but it's on my computer. And that's where it all started, was youngest of 10 kids, which means you have to fight for everything in that house, right?
And the hand-me-downs, you don't get anything new.
Oh, no. In fact, the one time I bought something new, someone at school was like, ew, you are hand-me-downs. I was like, I actually bought this one.
Yeah, that's hilarious. The one time. Oh my gosh.
But my mom and dad are saints. I have to say that. I would not have done as well as they did raising 10 kids. But I was reading through my mom's journals because she kept a journal every day. And one of the entries was when I was like 3 or 4. And she took note of me asking, Mom, when do I get to be the boss? And as a mom, I would have answered the same thing. Girl, you're 3. Never. But it internalized in me, or it must have. I don't remember this happening, but I remember the energy of it, of never feeling like I was in charge, never feeling like I could control my own time. And that followed me into W-2s over and over and over again. And I was a fantastic employee. I was any employer's dream because I took so much ownership, but I was chafing so bad because there was always a cap on how far I could grow within the company because I never owned it. And I remember sitting backstage during an event, and gosh, this moment, I was with my boss backstage, and I started to evolve my own brand. I got an LLC, and I even started making swag, and I named my company This Is Me, after Greatest Showman, because I love that show. And I was like, I'm going to start this brand. I'm going to teach people how to speak.
And you have a pre-made song to go with your business already. So
I definitely do. And it matched my initials. It was a whole thing, right? So I started printing swag, and I was wearing a piece of swag at the time for my own stuff, right? And don't get me wrong, I was accomplishing everything that I was supposed to. It was my W-2. I was checking all the boxes. But my boss pulled me backstage and he was like, I need you to dissolve this brand. And in my mind, I was like, if I don't, I could lose my job. So I lied and I said I would, but really I just put it on ice. I just didn't do anything with it. I didn't close the LLC or anything. It just wasn't public in any way. And when I finally exited all W-2s, I pulled that brand out and I was like, this is my ride or die, apart from my husband and my kids. This is what I'm going to do, my ikigai, what I love to do, what I would do even if I didn't get paid. And it turned into this mission. And my husband and I share this mission. We want to put good people, there's a qualifier, on 1 million stages and help them make $1 billion doing it. And that's what we're on a mission to do.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that mission. I love those BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious goals like that.
Yep.
That is neat. Mine is, it's a work in progress, but it's supporting, giving a voice to 10,000 entrepreneurs who should have a greater voice, right?
That's why when we connected, I was like, yes, our missions are so aligned.
Exactly. Well, that's why exactly. So we're talking about content today, and you've done tons of content. You have your own podcast. You speak on stages, which is a form of content. Once you capture it, share it. When you filled out the form here for this podcast, you had this note. So my question was, what's a content marketing initiative that's worked for you in the last year? Because that's what it's all about, right? What can we learn? And you said tripwires on social media. So I am really interested in talking about that. If you don't mind unpacking that a little bit and what that's done for you. And do you use that for your clients too? So tell me what's that all about?
Yeah. So I ascribe to Alex Hormozi's philosophy of don't teach anything unless you've done it yourself and you know it works. I'm not a regurgitator of theory, So tripwires, first of all, I don't like that name. I need someone in this industry to help me rename it because it feels like we're hunting in Vietnam for clients, and that's not.
Yeah, an initial offer, maybe you'll come across it eventually.
Right. So this is the value, again, which is overused, but this is the good stuff, the juicy stuff that we give away. That's the tripwire, the lead magnet, the free offer, whatever it is. And that's this giving this away. We do it on stage a lot. You'll see it whenever you hear a presenter say, scan this QR code, get this free thing. And usually on the back end is this bait and switch, for lack of a better word. Scan this thing and then let's hop on a call. And we all know it's coming and it's distasteful to most of us because it's not executed correctly and it's not the natural next step. So what I have found is I test these tripwires and I test these lead magnets, these free offers, this piece of value that I have. And I've written 17 books last year, little ones. I'm not talking like big fat novels. 17 books in terms of 12 to 18 page free ebooks on how to do what I know how to do. And I wrote them for other people as well. So I started handing these out on social media and I would go, guys, if you're listening, I hope this still works, but Threads is a shocking, jaw-dropping, amazing place to connect with people. It's incredible. And I think it will last as long as there are no sponsored posts on Threads, because that's paid ad space, which there's nothing wrong with. But the beauty in prepaid is the only interaction is organic and the only interaction is live. So I've tested these. I go into Facebook groups that run parallel with my audience. Podcasters is one of them. Event coordinators is another one of them. And I'm part of all these groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. And I go into these groups and I test. And I was like, if I had a book on how to podcast, how many of you would want that? And if they say yes, I hand it to them. Or if I say, how many of you want to get on podcasts? I have a database of over 1,000, free access. Who wants it? And I just see what happens. Well, the crazy thing is that I accidentally posted on Threads because Meta just cross-posts everything, right? So I posted on Facebook, it cross-posted to Threads, and I started to get all these notifications. I don't think I'd opened the Threads app in probably 3 months or since I downloaded it, right? And I was like, oh, there must be something wrong. So I opened up the Threads app, and it's comment after comment after comment after. There's 400 comments, all saying, yes, please send it. Yes, thank you, Marianne. Yes, what a great resource. And so I'm like, better get to it. So I'm responding to every comment. Okay, great. I'll send it to you. Just text this word to this number and my automations take care of the delivery. And then I'm taking it a step further. And for anyone that uses Threads, you have to do this because Threads doesn't have a messaging platform yet. You have to go to Instagram and DM them to make sure that you do everything you can to deliver what you promised. So this strategy has worked really, really, really well because it's just giving people what they want. It's not bait and switching. It's not like you have to sign up for my subscription model to get this, or you have to do a phone call with me to get this. No, it's just giving, 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 giving. And we were at our peak of this specific lead magnet working. We're about 150 new emails in our database a week. It was awesome.
Wow, that is an incredible number. Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I've seen that strategy used. I've used it myself on LinkedIn, though. I haven't used it on other platforms. I'm certainly on Threads, but I don't like you. Not active on it. It's just a place for me to post, but I'm not active on the platform for anything like that. Really good tactic to mention. Haven't heard about that one on the podcast, but it is an underrated one of just what happens if you just give away your lead magnets without gatekeeping them, without asking for an email first. Because at the end of the day, you are getting hand raisers, and then it facilitates a conversation if you think there's a next step. Do you take it to the next step after you hand them out? What does that look like?
Well, and I should clarify that I don't gatekeep with a paywall, but I do use an email. I don't just post my lead magnet out there because I want to deliver it to their email. So my podcast database, which is my number one most popular giveaway, I have it locked on Google. It's a Google spreadsheet, and I have it locked down so that nobody can edit it, but you can view it. And that requires me to get your email. So it's a legitimate email delivery. And then I follow up and say, how was that? Do you want more? And I hesitate. I used to go directly into a try and book you on a call sequence. And then I got so many unsubs. I was like, okay, obviously this isn't working. So now I'm just saying, okay, now that you've got the database, here's a book on how to leverage it, how to use it to its best advantage. Here's, our community of podcasters that we've started. And it's just free. And it's a slower start. I will equate it to like skiing and snowboarding, right? One you get really good at really fast, but it's hard to get better. And one takes a long time to get good at, but you're like up there on the black diamonds once you get good at it. The same thing is true with lead gen. When I've discovered with lead gen is that the better I take, and this sounds like duh, right? This is a stupid principle to learn, but it's common sense to me now. The better I take care of people, the more organic the sales happen. I love getting emails like, oh my gosh, do you do one-on-one coaching, or do you have a program that can do this, rather than doing what I used to do, which was like be desperate. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do follow-up, but when you sound and feel desperate, we know we're smart. People pick up on this. And the desperation to get them on the phone as soon as possible, we can taste it almost. We can smell it. We can see it coming, and we walk away. You and I both do this. We both walk away when we're like, oh, you just want to sell me stuff. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to grow.
So you do follow up with them. I know you said that desperation isn't a place to come from following up, but that sense of helpfulness, that spirit of helpfulness, sounds like is what you employ. What does that look like, practically speaking?
When they download whatever thing I gave away, I've learned to do this through automation. So because thankfully, this is a good blessing to have when you have a lot of people asking for it. When it was just first one-on-one, I used to do it one-on-one, but now I've taught my AI to do it for me. When they text in to get the thing, I send them a link to download it, which sends them to a landing page that they can get it emailed to them. And then a little while later, I programmed my bot to say, hey, did you get that okay? Just a little yes, no, right? And depending on how they respond, my AI will say, oh, shoot, okay, so try this link again if you didn't get it. Or if you did get it, like, okay, here's what I would do. So if they say, yes, did you get the podcast database? Okay, then I send a text that says, okay, here's the best way to use it. I update that database every 2 weeks. Put it in your calendar to go reapply every 2 weeks. And then they're like, oh, great, more value. Good. And then my next follow-up question is, tell me what you're wanting to do with podcasts. Are you wanting to just appear on more shows? Are you using it to grow your business? So my AI will start this conversation of, why did you want what I gave you? And that's the next step is curiosity. I've had so many times where people, they're not a good fit for my program. And I figure that out in the why. If people say, I just wanted to see what was out there, or I haven't started my business yet and all of that, then I'm like, okay, you're not ready for what I do, but here's how I can help. And maybe I can help you get ready by all of the stuff that I'm putting out there, kind of, again, Alex Hormozy style. I'm going to just blast out everything that I know how to do. And when you've had enough success to where hiring me makes sense, maybe then we can talk. But I want you to have some semblance of success first. And maybe I can play a part in that.
Do you mind sharing this this AI? Is this like a Go High Level type thing that you're using?
Yeah. Oof, dude, my husband is so brilliant. I couldn't do anything without him. I did not
That's
make
awesome.
this. He did.
Yeah, I was just curious. It's
Yeah.
not very often you meet somebody that is content driven, great on stages, systems minded, has an AI, all those, it's usually my strengths certainly aren't in all those areas. It's in a couple, maybe.
Me neither.
That's why I was curious about that. Yeah, that's cool. You have a husband to help you with that. An operations minded person is always important for us.
Dude, he's so brilliant.
Yeah,
he's so
that's
brilliant.
cool. That makes sense. Yeah. So you've got a whole system, Go High Level. I saw your note here, a CRM type of all-in-one software. I'm familiar with it. I'm sure a lot of our listeners will be. It's amazing to me how much they add. It used to just be a one type of software. Now it does everything, even like school level communities, a competitor to Alex Hormozy's product. Yeah, a bunch of cool stuff. How would you recommend? So this is something you do this for your clients too, you said, right?
Oh yeah. No, we wash, rinse, repeat for all of our clients.
Yeah. So that's cool. I love that. You use this and then for yourself, and then you find out what works and then use it for your clients. Do you recommend for them, hey, you're going to need Go High Level, you're going to need the system, or do you just have them start? Where do you have them start with this?
That's a good question. So there's a few check boxes depending on what their goal is and where they're already starting. So the people that I work with, the best case scenario is that they have decades of expertise in whatever their specialty is. I don't recommend an 18-year-old become a life coach because you haven't had enough life to become a coach. So
Agreed.
Decades of experiences is a mandatory. And then what we need to do is start giving that away. So content creation, right? We need to start talking about it on our Instagram. We need to start talking about it on podcasts. We need to start talking about it, to your point, on stages, which is a form of content creation. People need to know what you're known for and what you're good at and what you can do. And once you serve enough, they're going to start asking for things. Now, this is where the CRM comes in. Especially because Go High Level is so affordable. There's no reason to even start a business without it. It just doesn't make sense because the CRM is going to track every single person that ever said yes to what you want, because eventually the customers that you get will come from that pool. They will come from the pool that said yes to you. And one of the things that I recommend everybody do, so if you're just brand new to content creation and CRMs, get yourself a version of Go High Level. And then what you're going to do is upload your entire personal email list to that database. And then you're going to send out one blanket email that says, hey, it's Marianne. I know we met maybe because we're on an email thread together, or maybe we did an event together or whatnot. I just want you to let you know what I'm up to. And then you just drive it in 2 sentences. I teach people how to speak on stage. I'm not sure if you knew this about me. You're on this list because we interfaced. And if you don't want to be on this, that's totally fine. Let me know right now. I won't bother you again. And then you'll get some opt-outs, and that's okay. But you'll instantly kick off your business with potentially thousands of contacts. Give your stuff away. You're talking about it in terms of your content creation everywhere. And that's what's the most important thing. Here's one of the most important things I've learned about content. Your content is not really what creates your followers. Your followers come because they've heard about you somewhere, and then they go to your content and say, is she really everything that she says she is? Or is he really everything that he proclaims to be? Is there a match between where I heard about this person and where and what I'm seeing on social media? And if both of those say yes, now you've got a new follower, which is great. I have such a small, by comparison, follower count, but my follower count is composed of people who are strong followers. They know who I am and what I stand for. I would rather have that than a dirty bathwater millions of followers who don't interact with me. I don't know where that visual came from, but there you go.
I love that. That's a great visual. That's a very common. That's true. I see that everywhere. Thank you for that analogy, but also what led up to it, the idea of having a system for capturing folks with generosity. This is not a selfish thing. This is a selfless thing.
Well, and that's the whole crux of it, is leave people better off than I found them.
No, that's what you said right before the podcast. And I was like, what? That's right on the top of her head. She must think about this every day.
Oh, and I do. And I've seen what happens when it doesn't show up that way. I've seen what happens when people come to the table with commission breath and the dollar signs are blinding them. And they always seem to struggle. They struggle with their reputation. They struggle with PR management. They struggle with sales. And I'm not even saying that you can't be successful with commission breath. You can. You can be successful to a point, but it's more of a flash in the pan hot shot that's not sustainable because you have not generated a loyal following. And the undercurrent of your reputation will overpower the surface level every day of the week, given enough time.
I love that analogy because as you were talking, I was thinking, yeah, you can be successful and it takes so much effort to be successful if you're just swimming against the current and you're trying to find every tactic and cling on to everything. Oh, that's not working anymore. Throw that away. Try this new thing. Spam, DM, try this new manipulative, whatever. But yeah, if you employ ethical DMing paired with, you could argue, a brand building, reputation building activities like creating content and with a generosity mindset, that, I mean, to me, it sounds way more sustainable. And honestly, it sounds way more fun.
Well, it is. And someone once told me, I think I was in seminary actually, and my teacher was like, try giving every dollar you have away. You can't do it. Just try giving every dollar. And I was super cynical. I was like, I'm pretty sure I could write a check for everything and go down to zero pretty quick. But this principle I have found to be true. And it's funny about the law of reciprocity. I've talked about this a lot because when you try and invoke the law of reciprocity, it doesn't work. You can't try to leverage it because it'll just self-implode, right? But when you live it, when you just live, I'm going to give and I'm going to give. And I'm going to write a chapter in my book called Know the Coffee Order. And this is what I'm talking about. When you know the coffee order of the janitor, that's generosity. Whenever I go to an event, I make it a point to know the name of the person who's emptying the garbage at the event center. The last event we did last Tuesday, her name was Angela. She didn't speak very good English, but I made it a point to say thank you. Thank you for emptying the garbage. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And I'm not sharing this with you to tell everyone how cool I am and how, amazing I am, but it leaves a mark. And I've seen people that don't do this and they and I used to be one of these people. I was walking through an event and I had security, and boy, nothing boosts your ego like having a security on either side of you as you're walking through the crowd and you just feel so untouchable and oh my gosh, it will blow up your ego faster than anything. And I felt so important, but then I'm backstage and I'm sitting there and I'm alone. And I was like, I would rather be out walking and talking with people. And when I lived in that ego place for so long, people would DM me and they're like, I know you're busy, but. And it felt so gross because busy for me is a bad word. It means I'm not prioritizing my time, my most valuable resource. It means I'm wasting it. So when people call me busy, I'm like, that's a check on myself. I've got to fix something so that I am available, because that's the currency, right? That's relationship currency, is being available. Now, you don't want to waste your time in the wrong places, meaning I need to be available for my family first. I've got to prioritize that. And I've got to set realistic expectations. If you text me on Instagram, I'm going to get back to it. It might take me a couple days, but I'll get back to it because I'm available for my family first. But I want to be the one that's helping people, and not because I'm trying to, like I said, invoke the law of reciprocity. I just want, and this is very mission driven. I want the mark that I leave on the planet. I want my eulogy. I want the way that my name is spoken of in rooms that I'm not in to be a positive one, because that means I'm doing the right mission.
Wow. Well, thank you, Marianne, for sharing. Very encouraging to me. I'm just going to tell you that. Very encouraging to me. Helps me think about some of the things I'm doing and am I using the wrong motives? What I'm hearing today is that your motives inform your success in many
I love
ways.
that.
So I'm going to take that away from today's conversation, dwell on that, chew on that a little bit. Thank you for that. Where can someone learn more about you?
Anywhere. I'm omnipresent, although I will say like I'm more present on Instagram than I am on like Twitch. I'm there, but I don't even know how to message on that platform. Instagram is a great way to get a hold of me. I like to give out my phone number if people want to just text me. It's 801-509-5495. You can just text me and we can chat. I'd love to support any way I can. And like I said, I'm not for everybody. I'm only for the people that also want to leave a good mark on the planet, like you, Justin. Like we want to help deserving good people put a megaphone up to their mouths and do more good.
Yep, absolutely. There's enough people out there who have a megaphone who should not have a megaphone. So I would like to see the people who don't have one. Well, thank you again, Marianne. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Justin. It's an honor.